November 1st, NBA slate on tap. And of course, we're going to do what we do now every day on Splash Play here, Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Or 11 a.m. Well, that's the NFL version. At 4 p.m., I was coming from seeing some kids dress around in costumes at my kids' daycare. So very flustered here, but let's hop into it and let's do it all presented by Unabated. Of course, you can see here on the screen some nice chats as well. Robert, if that's heard, happy Friday basketball hour. Yes, sorry, Friday basketball happy hour. Same thing counts. And Spags NBA takes are fire. I think my takes for everything are fire. But yes, I feel like we've had a good run for the NBA to start here. In particular, the guys have had the thumbnail. We've been identifying some of the top plays in the slate. And today, look, you get Anthony Davis on the thumbnail. So should you play him everywhere? Maybe. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's go through the slate. Of course, we're going to look at some projections as well. My own projections, Stokastic's projections, the ownership via Stokastic. We will look at, of course, prop markets as well, including PrizePicks and Underdog coming up in a moment. And yes, please do hit that like button. Need the support here on a brand new channel. It's still got to get warmed up, and frankly, it's got to build. So you are strapped in the early days here, and I'll do the best I can to give you an edge early on here. So Boston, no Al Horford today. You do get a decently projected Jason Tatum in terms of the upside here. I got him a little bit lower than Stokastic. If you have Stokastic's 50.6 projection, it'll probably look like a slightly better play for you. Small forward, power forward eligible. Fine enough play on this slate. Jaylen Brown, another one that I'm a little bit lower on. I do paste in the rates basically reflect the time that Al Horford's not on the court. So I have that into my sheet here. That's what the rates are seeing on the screen, where historically without Al Horford, Tatum at 31% usage, 25% assist rate. Jaylen Brown, 33% usage, 16% assist rate. That's how it's been going for these guys basically in all the minutes, all the court time they've had over the last year and change without Al Horford. So these guys, we know they're going to shoot a lot no matter what, but maybe not a ton of upside or a ton more upside added on, not having Horford out there. Oh, yes, that's right. Please, I have to get the branding right. We're not an NFL show. There we go. Thank you, my guy Ross, reminding me of how to produce here on the fly. Derek White, a guy who just kind of always fills in court time without Porzingis. He projects decently well for me, a little bit less well for Stokastic. You can see here, basically my projection is pulling more towards Derek White. Stokastic's pulling more towards Jason Tatum, a little bit more towards Jaylen Brown. So I think that's the key difference between us. But overall for Derek White, nice projection on him. Not a bad play. I think not a priority play, but with my projections in the sim I ran before the show, I did get a good amount of them coming up. Drew Holiday, not a play for me tonight. Peyton Pritchard, I think projects pretty well. A game where sometimes, actually Jaylen Brown has said this verbatim in interviews. Sometimes in games that they feel like they don't matter, they don't have to push as hard, they just let Peyton Pritchard take over. So that is a little more narrative than just purely the projection. But projection does look pretty good. I have a 26.9 projection on him. Stokastic at 23.9. He's projected for 27 minutes. So I think Peyton Pritchard, an okay play. Not the most exciting in the world, but a good one. Luke Cornett should be the starter. 6.7x value for him. Minutes only projected for 23.6. So last game, Horford went out. Neemias Queta, I've never heard anybody say his name out loud, but Neemias Queta basically filled it on the home stretch there. Actually had a pretty good run in the fourth quarter and in overtime. So Cornett should start. Queta should take out some minutes. Tillman also took minutes in the second half as well. So probably a three-headed setter matchup. I probably would not want to play Cornett as a result. He does have the most fantasy upside, but I only projected, I projected okay. He's got 0.97 in my projection fantasy points per minute. He's been at 0.77 historically. So I think Luke Cornett, an okay play here, but probably a little bit trappy with just the center eligibility as well. Like this Pritchard spot. Yeah, I mean, look, it does fit the narrative again of what Jaylen Brown has said before. So I think the projection working and combining that together, it makes sense. And pronounced Queta? Queta? All right, fine. That works. Queta works for me. Still Neemias, though. Neemias Queta. I think he honestly might be the best producer per minute. You can see 1.12 fantasy points per minute historically. I've got him at 1.14 tonight. If he were a surprise starter, and you'll know that because it's the first game coming up tonight, if he were a surprise starter, I would actually think that he's a pretty good play to go to because then you'll get a little more minutes. But the three-headed monster part of the center build, I think, with Tillman, Queta, and Cornett, I think it's not the best overall. Charlotte's side, I did update my rates as well to reflect this season because I wanted to try to capture the guys who are differentiating a little bit early on, and that could be a mistake. I still basically build my rate data uses the previous performances over the last season and change for all of these guys. So the rates just kind of reflect what they're doing more in terms of possessions, what they're doing on the court currently. So it's part of just how I slowly start to make my data hopefully stronger as the year goes on. So I just kind of talk about this so you guys are in the loop about what changes a little bit. So as a result, this year's numbers for LaMelo, he's not producing quite as well. He's at 1.41 fantasy points per minute over the last year and change. And I'm at 1.38 today. I think the issue for him is that Nick Richards is rebounding a lot better. So Melo's rebound rate or LaMelo's rebound rate has come down. Nick Richards is rebounding on a 21% clip overall. So is that going to come down? Maybe. But Richards kind of looks like a demon rebounding out there. So for him, I'm better projected than Stokastic by a pretty good margin today. I've got him at 34.6. Stokastic is at 27.2. Some of this could be impacted by him going nuts in that last game where he put up 60 fantasy points, basically. But for Richards overall, seems like the role is a little bit better than it seems. He's playing a little bit better. He's 1.5% owned. So it's part of the logic for me to kind of have the rates reflect this year is that when you're using kind of the longitudinal projections, you lose sometimes like things that are changing between one season to the next. And for Richards, like, you adjust his rates. He's a different player based on how he's playing this year. So at 1.5% owned, that could be pretty important. So Richards, a player I think to consider today, even though definitely a lot of valid center plays on the slate today, again, including AD on the thumbnail. Besides him, Trey Mann looks pretty good. He's been producing well in the year, assisting a little bit more, playing good minutes as well, 26.3 minutes projection for him. Not a priority play for me. He's had some upside lately. 11% ownership feels a little bit lofty, but he might come up in a sim, might come up in an optimizer, a decent projection. And I do have him a little bit better than Stokastic. I got him at 29. Stokastic has him at 26.3. Anybody else here? Not that noteworthy. Orlando, one of the big ones on the slate. Paolo Banchero out for this one. So you should see a little bit of a rate boost for Franz Wagner. The guy that I have getting boosted the most is Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs is playing like a monster to start the year. 1.3 fantasy points per minute over the last season and change. Tonight, I have him projected for 1.21 fantasy points per minute. His rate's been pretty good. 25% usage, 10% rebounds, 25% assists. So contributing in every category, also shooting extremely well. 63.5% true shooting. So with that usage to go around, it's a tough match against Cleveland. But leaving so many possessions behind for Banchero, I think is pretty important. So Wagner looks better. Suggs is chalk. I am with that as a chalk play. NBA DFS chalk, a little more palatable than some of the NFL DFS chalk. Wendell Carter, playable. Not crazy about him, but to get him in some sims before the show. Everybody else here, I'm not crazy about, including Jonathan Isaac, who's going to be one of the chalkiest plays on the day. A 38.3% ownership going his way. I have him projected for 21. Stokastic has him at 20.3. He does come up a lot in the sim, but that's more a reflection of this $3,600 price point. Because he's a decent projection, that salary allows you to get in a lot of more of the key players in. And Isaac, to me, is not anything more than somebody who just kind of fits that. So he's playing really well per minute. The minutes shouldn't get that high, especially with his injury history, but if you do luck box him getting, let's say somehow 25 minutes, he probably wins the slate. If he gets 20, that's where you're maybe looking at him not putting up enough points. But at 3,600, he probably has to give you at least 30 and maybe more given the size of today's slate. But I think Isaac is a little bit of a trappy play as a chalk play of the day. Donovan Mitchell doesn't project that well for me. Mobley projects a little bit better, again, reflecting this rate for the year. 25.4% usage for Mobley so far to start the year as they deliberately give him the ball a little bit more. Jared Allen, I think, looks okay. Darius Garland looks okay. None of these guys over 10% owned, so mixing these guys in on a chalkier build, I think, works. Dean Wade, a value play. I'm not crazy about him, but 5.5x value, 1% owned. And he's going to be getting 26 minutes, so he's not going to make the closing lineup, but one of these guys gets in foul trouble. Maybe Dean Wade could be there a little bit more, but I'm just mentioning him because he does pop up with an okay projection overall. New York, 112.5 implied points. Detroit, 105.5 implied points. Josh Hart looks like a priority play for me today. I am projected greatly higher than Stokastic, again, using the 2024 rate data. Josh Hart's been rebounding pretty well, an 18% clip, assisting pretty well as well, a 14% clip. Usage is not great at 18%, but he's doing a little bit of everything, and he gets 36 minutes a game in his projection. So for Josh Hart, at his salary being under 6K, I think he's a very strong play today. He'll be 26% owned. Jalen Brunson, good as well. Again, the Knicks, we know the deal by this point. Tibbs just drives him to the ground. 35.5 minutes for Brunson. All these guys over 34, at least for Towns, but everybody else over 35. So these Knicks are all in play. I think, obviously, Josh Hart grades out the best for me. But you can play any of them tonight, and I wouldn't be mad about it against Detroit, who's a team that probably, honestly, will hold up in this game. They're a 7-point dog at home, but they're not good, really. Just Cade Cunningham probably shoots them into the game. Similarly, Cade to me projects pretty well today at 13% ownership. I've got him at a 45.8 projection. Stokastic has him at 43.5. Cade Cunningham, the usage has been there. His price has come down a little bit to 8,500. With that projection, I think he looks strong. He's got 50 fantasy point upside, 60 fantasy point upside in a competitive game theoretically. So if Detroit hangs in this one and you do play Josh Hart, you do play a Nick, because Josh Hart kind of needs to get there by, again, getting 4 quarters of run. I would say that playing Cade Cunningham is probably a valid play, both on its own, honestly, but especially if you're playing a Nick. Playing Cade Cunningham and expecting him to get all the run, the Knicks not to blow them out, I think would be a good way to get a little bit less owned overall. Jalen Duren, not well projected for me today. Jaden Ivey looks okay. Tobias Harris looks okay. Okay plays, mixing them in on a slate like this. Guys under 10% owned, they're fine, but certainly not priorities here. Same thing for Isaiah Stewart, Malik Beasley. These guys are all perfectly fine. None of them stand out too materially. Sacramento 121.5, high total here. Not a lot of defense, good amount of pace up spot for Sacramento. Atlanta 115 implied points on their end. So this is another key one for Atlanta. No Dyson Daniels once again. You're also not getting DeAndre Hunter. We know that in advance. So Trae Young projects pretty well for me. Not as well as last time out, to be candid, but still fairly well at an elevated 10-2 salary after he broke the slate the other night. I was touting the shit out of him. So Trae Young, only 10% ownership. I've got him still a pretty good value at a 5.5x. Trae Young to me a good play. Jalen Johnson also a good play at this point. Under 6% owned, it looks like for him. He's been playing really well with all these guys out, soaking up a lot of usage on the court, a good amount. He's projected for 37.9 minutes today. So the Atlanta side to me the most important side here. Reza Shea projected for 43% ownership. I would avoid that like the plague. He's due to shoot better at some point. 43.2% true shooting. He's still a number one overall pick. He's not an awful shooter like that. It's going to get better for him at some point, but for right now with Reza Shea, I really wouldn't want to play him on the wing, even with him getting a ton of minutes. He's the kind of guy I'd try to avoid. It certainly hit, especially if Jalen Johnson weren't to hit and the game were still competitive. But so many possessions are going to come down to Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, and Reza Shea is not good enough to justify more, so I personally wouldn't want to be there too much. Sacramento side, De'Aaron Fox looks the best, but Sabonis playable, Keegan Murray playable. Reza Shea's horrible chalk. He's just not the most impressive guy seeing him out there. I mean, I will say he does get a good amount of corner threes, and you're going to need some scoring against Sacramento. So maybe he does get there, but I think the scoring just comes from Trae Young and Jalen Johnson again. I don't think Sacramento impedes them anyway, really. And Reza Shea would need one of them to fail for him to really get there. So I just wouldn't go Reza Shea's way. He's going to be fucking 43%. That's insane, 43% ownership for him when you could watch him play and go, this guy is the worst number one overall pick ever. Anyway, Sacramento side, I think all these guys are playable. Keegan Murray, I question the upside with all the guys they have in the rotation. I think the historical projections for him are going to make him look a little bit better. That's what I do have Keegan Murray better projected overall than Stokastic does. So I'm the most high on De'Aaron Fox overall. He's under 10% owned. Domantas Sabonis looks okay to me, 10.5%, though I'm a little bit lower than Stokastic on him. DeMar DeRozan looks okay, basically flat with Stokastic. And Keegan Murray looks okay, 2% ownership for him. This game, though, I think a really good game environment. Atlanta right now, they're good enough offensively, bad enough defensively, but still don't honestly, they got killed by Washington. There's a chance Sacramento blows them out, I guess, but I think Atlanta-Sacramento to me looks like a really appealing game right now. Chicago, another team playing with a lot of pace, 102.6. They're getting a pace down spot against Brooklyn. Nobody here looks that great. Giddey's playable. Got him in a few simmed lineups. I've got him a little bit lower projected than Stokastic, but 30 minutes. He's basically the nominal point guard for the Bulls. That looks okay for him. Kobe White, playable. Vooch, close to playable. I think there's better plays in the slate, but in terms of tournament upside, maybe he could get there. I feel like he's killed Brooklyn in the past, though. What does that matter now? Brooklyn, Cam Thomas looks okay. Dennis Schroeder. Josh Engelman said this to me on one of the deeper dive streams this week, and I guess I never really thought of it that way. For Dennis Schroeder, it really is his team. He's playing like this is his team. His rates have come up. He's assisting at a 39% clip. He's got the ball 24% usage plus that 39% assist rate. So has the ball a lot, 1.12 fantasy points per minute. Schroeder's just a solid play right now. I think a little bit pricier than he's been, but he's been putting up 50 fantasy points. So I don't mind Schroeder on the slate. Cam Thomas is going to be a lot higher owned. You're getting leverage on Cam Thomas for you to go Schroeder's way. I think about Roddy as a pivot, not real low owned either, I don't think. I don't think he has enough upside on this big of a slate. David Roddy is producing pretty well. I think you watch him too. He looks like a good player, but I only project for 0.77 fantasy points per minute, and that's with his 2024 rates, which have been fairly aggressive. So I don't see Roddy really being a play, and he's also going to be 15% owned. So you're not really sneaking up on anybody with going to Roddy. If you're going to sneak up on anybody, it's probably with Garrison Matthews, but he's not good enough. He would just have to get hot from three, I think. Anyway, Brooklyn side, Dorian Finney-Smith looks okay to me. Claxton, I think his minutes came down a little bit from Stokastic. He projects well per minute for me. I've got him at 1.19 fantasy points per minute today, expected. But overall, I think the Nets an okay team. I don't love Cam Johnson. I don't love Ben Simmons. Schroeder and Cam Thomas, though, really solid plays. Finney-Smith, the value play. They can pick up some more minutes at center potentially. In this matchup with Vooch out there, yeah, Vooch won't kill you. I think Finney-Smith can hang in there at center if they want to do that. But with Claxton, they probably won't do it a lot. Lakers, 120.8 implied points. A team that looks really good to me today going against Toronto. They're a 9-point favorite on the road, so some blowout potential here, potentially. I still think playing it like Toronto hangs this game is going to be the more appealing option. You got Anthony Davis looking really good to me. 58.2 is my projection on him. Stokastic has him at 56.5. LeBron at 45 looks okay at an $8,800 salary. Stokastic has him at 47.6. 5.1x value based on my projection. Austin Reeves looks pretty good. Again, it's a lot of ability to produce against Toronto. They don't defend well. They hang in there, hopefully enough offensively based on the small sample size of games without Barnes and Quickly. So the hope is that this one stays close. But Rui's playable as well. He'll come up at Sims with the dual position eligibility. The Lakers have a lot of appealing pieces. To me, Hachimura, Reeves, LeBron, Davis, and D'Angelo Russell was questionable, but he's going to go, so nothing to worry about there. So I'm playing really hard lately. Might be worth a dice roll. I mean, I'm going to be here. I'll tell you what, including for Davion Mitchell again. So Davion Mitchell, another big contrast for me in Stokastic. So you look at the popcorn machine, and honestly, you know what? It's worth just doing this on stream because the Davion Mitchell thing is one of my weirder things that I've had as I think a potential advantage on a slate. Last slate, he only got to 30 fantasy points, but he shot like really badly to start. But Davion Mitchell, basically when he gets court time without Barnes and without Quickly, he becomes like a different player, becomes like he was back in college. So his first half was really bad. He just kind of stood around out there, contributed no stats here. I guess had 1 assist and a turnover, so they basically say that's 0. Did nothing in the second half. Jamal Shed was running pretty well. Davion had like 28 second half points. He basically went off in the second half, started shooting, started assisting, started running the pick and pop with Pirtle at a really high rate. Then he came in, scored some more here, scored some more down the home stretch, was taking shots when the game was like on the line late. So I think the second half of Mitchell is what you're looking for here. I think there's a real ceiling for Mitchell still, and especially one where if Barrett were to fail, if Pirtle were to come in a little bit lower, I think Mitchell would pop up a little bit more. But I've got Mitchell for 34.6 today. Stokastic has him for 23.2. I know for a fact that they're looking at the historical rates for Mitchell and not adapting for where he's played so far, which is like pretty good usage, pretty good assist rate. These are his 2024 numbers so far. But in court time, without some of the key guys, without, again, in particular, Barnes and Quickly, Mitchell's been at 25% usage and a 41% assist rate. So it's like gone up from where it was last game. He got the usage, got the opportunity last game. So Mitchell not shooting well to start the year. That's really the biggest risk for him. But in the second half, he looked like a fucking monster. So I think Davion Mitchell, I'm going to vouch for him one more time here. 0.9% own. He could win you a slate if he gives you the upside of my projection. If you see the upside in Stokastic projection, he probably kills your team. So weighted accordingly, but I have to point it out again because these numbers just jarring to see. Jakob Poeltl looks pretty good. His 14% owned. He's going to be a little bit less than last time. I got him way higher projected than Stokastic. Got him for 41.7. They've got him for 33.3. RJ Barrett, he's going to be chalked today, 40% ownership. I've got him higher projected than Stokastic, so I don't mind that. Price tags come up a little bit. I don't think he's a must play, but he does have 32% usage, 31.5% assist rate so far in the year. Indiana, we're going to get to unabated props in a moment, guys. I just want to get through the entire slate. Indiana, 118.3. New Orleans, 113.8 here. Playable players on Indiana's side. And again, these are all 2023 rates. So you can see here a thing that I don't like seeing in teams. They have flattened out their usage so much. Nobody above 24% usage-wise in the entire team. If Turner weren't in, it would open up a little bit more because Isaiah Jackson's going to be a little bit lower usage guy overall. But really, like the historical rates for these guys, which mostly reflect the time where Halliburton didn't have Siakam. Siakam was in Toronto getting his own thing. Mathurin got more work at points without Siakam. Their rates just don't match up with what it's been this year. So to me, these guys aren't the most playable. Siakam is cusp playable, 5.1x value. Miles Turner, okay. Halliburton, though, at his price point, I have a hard time getting there. I think the prices are going to come down because they're basically just not the players they're being priced for right now. So that's basically that. For New Orleans, no CJ McCollum for 2 to 3 weeks. So some theoretical opportunity opened up, in particular for Zion Williamson, whose rates seem to jump up a lot when not having DeJounte Murray, when not having McCollum out there, not having Trey Murphy as well. His rates basically become something more like, where are we at with this? I've got his rates for today at 35% usage, 41% assist rate. I think he dominates the ball because my guess really based upon what happened with these guys out on the wing is basically Zion gets the ball on the wing more. So he gets the ball, can either steamroll downhill, create an assist, or theoretically, I guess, shoot it himself. So for Zion, I think he becomes a better play here. It's 22% owned, but to me overall, it looks like a pretty solid play. Appreciate that from Eric as well. Thank you, dude, for all you do. Got in late and rewinding to the beginning. Just wanted to say what's up. I appreciate that. I like BI. Indy can't play D. I mean, I think I'd definitely favor Zion personally, but Ingram I've got 41.3. Stokastic has him at 41.4. He's going to be 7% owned. So certainly a lower owned pivot to Zion, but there's just room to produce overall. Alvarado to me looks like one of the best values in the slate at 4,600. He's got 50% ownership. I've got him at 30.5. Stokastic has him at 28.3. The crush of minutes is the main thing for him. So Hawkins looks okay as well. I've got him at a 5.8x value, 34 minutes. All these guys are playable. If I were spending up, I'd go to Zion. If I'm spending down, I'd go to Alvarado. But those guys are obviously the chalk today. So, Ingram, a credible play because you are getting direct leverage on Zion for that. But appreciate the kind words, guys. We're going to do some props in a moment. Please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. Your engagements go a long way for me right now as I'm trying to build up a brand new channel. And YouTube does not make it easy when you're trying to hot start a channel. The algorithm takes a while here. We're not getting recommended yet, but the grind is starting. The grind goes on. So please support the show and go support Unabated as well. $30 off the promo code SPLASH Unabated on all their data and tools. And they're a great company to work with for me. So hopefully you'll get some value out of it. I mean, honestly, the bet's been crushing. This is all not DraftKings slate, so I'll just skim through it fast. Jokic, always high upside. Jamal Murray, okay looking. Michael Porter, okay looking. But really for a late slate here for DraftKings or for FanDuel, nobody's standing out too much. Julius Randle looking okay to me. Edwards looking okay. Not great values in this game either. DiVincenzo, mid-price guy. Could maybe be some use, I guess, on the slate, but nothing here that stands out too much. OKC, I love. SGA, Chet Holmgren, I think looks pretty strong tonight. Going against Portland. Portland sucks. That helps out a lot. Besides that, Portland side, really not anybody playable. Their price tags just kind of don't reflect. Adding Avdia in, Scoot taking some more usage away. It's kind of a crowded court overall. So these are games not on the DraftKings slate or the DraftKings main slate, but they'll be on the other slates. Let's go. Let's do Unabated now because I think their projections came out at 4:30. Then we'll run some sims on Stokastic and we'll call it a day on this fine Friday. Trying to make it work, guys. Had to go. Did some family commitment stuff today. Yesterday I had to sacrifice everything to do content. So today I got to see the kid, this Bluey costume. Got to hang out with his little buddies. We're doing great. Let's look at points first. I do have the conditional projections on Unabated. So, you know what? I forgot to do the thing I should always do here. The Unabated intro video. Let's do it. I wasn't talking. I was talking to nobody. Dynamic projections got me too excited. You can see if players are in, players are out. You can see if players even never played basketball before. A lot of them have. So you can just close that right away. Real-time NBA news. Turn off CNN. Turn on Unabated. Want to look at graphs? Ooh, that's a big old titty-looking graph. That's a Madonna-looking graph. Oh, I apologize. Chats? You want an AI chat bot? You talk to Unabated all your day. Then count your money. Unabated NBA. Promo code SPLASH. It's a 30 off. That wasn't one of the best ones. We did okay. Yeah, no, I fucked up. I forgot I have to unmute myself because StreamYard doesn't let you talk over videos naturally. I have to go to my way to do it. Let's run these sims, though. See the best lines. Of course, we're building a PrizePicks. Underdog pick 'em today. Of course, Unabated. $30 off. Check it out. Really a great tool. I cannot give enough of a cosign how fun it is to play with Unabated's prop simulation stuff. So EV right now, under 11.5 on Drew Holiday's points. You're getting the tittiest grass in the industry. They are the tittiest grass in the industry. It's hard to ignore. Drew Holiday, 10.8 points tonight is the projection from Unabated's team. You're getting good value, 8.7x value on under 11.5, which is a line available right now. PrizePicks and Underdog. Looks like the sportsbook's not quite as good. You're getting, good call, Kyle. Thank you. Thank you for that. Anthony Dave, my God. It really is like you give me a new YouTube channel. I forget all of the core things that I do naturally all the time. Anthony Davis over 27.5 points looks good. He's projected for 29.9 by Unabated's projection team. You're getting a 6.8x value on DK Sportsbook if you take that bet, minus 125 odds. If you add it to a pick 'em, you're going to get 6.1x value on over 28 on both Underdog and PrizePicks. So there we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. I keep thinking whenever Ross says this, Rob Griffin III says this, the Simpsons episode where it's like It's my first day, like Homer says, and everybody's just saying, it's my dia primero, is I think what Bumblebee Man says. And that's what I think of every single time. Jason Tatum, 27.5 points is his projection. So you get some value in under 28.5, 6.4x value for that. DK is a minus 115 odds on it. You're also getting 5% value, 5.1% if you want to be accurate to the decimal point. On PrizePicks and Underdog, under 28.5 points lines for Jason Tatum. D'Angelo Russell, some value on the under here. He's got projected 14.2 points. You're getting value in under 14.5 at minus 110 odds on DK Sportsbook. 4.5% EV on the under 14.5, and a little bit of value for Pick'ems, but probably not enough to go to. And Pirtle, you could be okay with this line under 13.5 points, 3.6x value, minus 105 odds. I might have Pirtle a little bit too well projected for that. Let me see. Now I've got Pirtle for 13.3, so I could live with that as well. All right, I'm lower on Pirtle than Unabated is. Surprised to see that. Rebounds up next. Yes, please like and sub. Cowards. I mean, not the cowards, just the squirts, ideally. All right. Sib's too fast. Can't even drink water. Grady Dick, the under on 2.6 rebounds for him. He does not put up a peripheral. He was scoring so many points the other day and just didn't add a stat anywhere else. I mean, he did add a few, but it really was like a fucking Tony Snell day, but with points for Grady Dick. That's a trade-off. Grady Dick, though, under 2.5 rebounds, plus 114 odds, getting 13.5% value. So that line's not in the pick'em sites, but that's a good line to take right now. Plus money, that much EV, would always want to do that. Anthony Davis, he's projected for 12.7 rebounds, but you are getting undervalue on under 13.5 on PrizePicks. 12% EV on that one, according to the Unabated sim, using their undated conditional NBA projections, which, of course, you can get for yourself. Link in the description, save $30 with the promo code SPLASH. Zion Williamson, value on the over 6.5 rebounds. He's projected for 7.7 by Unabated today. So 8.4% value at minus 135 odds on DK Sportsbook, and 5.1% value on the over 7 on PrizePicks. D'Angelo Russell, you're getting value on under 2.5 rebounds. His projection line is 2.7 rebounds, so 7.1% EV at plus 110 odds. Plus 110. 50-50 bet, you're getting plus 110 odds, always something to take. Everything else here, the EV is pretty close out of the window. You could do Reeves over 4.5 on DK Sportsbook at minus 110 for rebounds. You do RJ Barrett over 5.5 at minus 135. Plus 2.4% is a little bit low for a sim ROI, but it's playable. Anything over 2% is playable. Ideally for a sim over 8% and feel the most playable. Assists. Let's sim these. Who are our sim sweet boys? Is it simming? Simming down now is what I say. Ha ha ha. And how we laugh. Pretty big value on them. Why is Alex texting me? Oh, okay. She's sending a photo of her and Luca to her to a group text with me, her mom, and her dad. So that's why my phone is vibrating incessantly because they want photos. Love that for me. Value on LeBron over 7.5, minus 120 odds. This one, he's projected for 8.3 assists. The line is over 7.5, minus 120. Looks like a good bet. Decent value on RJ Barrett under 5.5 assists. Projected for 5.3, 4.4% value on this one. And you're getting it on PrizePicks, and you did have it Underdog, but they just pulled the line. Zion, cusp here. He's projected for 5.4 assists. You're getting value in under 5.5, minus 115 odds on DK Sportsbook, getting 3.5% EV on that. A little bit less EV on PrizePicks, under 5.5 there, because you're getting minus 118 odds, but still looks okay. And PRAs, last but not least, before we run a Stokastic sim and try to get out of the way of their deeper dive show, which is coming up in a little bit. My pal Josh Engelman, and I think Bellman on that one, maybe DK DFS. I don't know. Got Grady Dick, value on his under on PRAs, under 22.5, 6.1% value on PrizePicks and Underdogs. That's a good one to add to a card. Austin Reeves, 5.5% value and over 25.5 PRAs for him. That's another one to add to your PrizePicks card. You still get 4.7% value on DK Sportsbook at minus 120 as well. D'Angelo Russell, getting a little bit thinner here, under 22.5, minus 105 odds of DK Sportsbook gets you 4% in EV. And Zion Williamson, under 41.5 at minus 115 odds, gets you 3.1% EV on DK Sportsbook. So those are your top PRA plays, top unabated plays for the day. Again, a great product. Really can't recommend it enough. So please check it out. Link in the description. And of course, does support the show directly, but also gives you a great product that works well for NFL, NBA, and they have their conditional projections here, which you can also export. So if you wanted to build fantasy projections that nobody else has, that I can tell you they spend a lot of money and work on, I would use Unabated's projections and just true them up yourself. Just do the math, make them add up to real projections. But you can do that for yourself. Let's go see the Stokastic Sims next for the DFS part of things again, or the DFS DraftKings site kind of stuff. You know the deal. Let's go over here. I believe today it's 30% to first, or like 28.5%. So we'll make sure to set it for that. Let's build our 5,000 lineups first. This is just Stokastic's projections, not mine. So you won't see an insane amount of Davion Mitchell like you would be using my data, in which I'll tell you, hey, I don't care if nobody's playing this guy. My data says he's a good play. So let's die on that hill. That's where we are with Davion Mitchell today. Tapped my dick as well. Thank you. Grady dick sounds like a social disease. It does. You know what? But we'll never forget when he posed with Tarek Black and they had the black dick photo. He's made his name work well. It's good branding. Wouldn't have been fun to grow up with, but then when you're a freak athlete, pretty fun. All right. So a lot of ownership for Alvarado. We knew the stuff already from the ownership. Alvarado, Suggs, RJ Barrett, Jonathan Isaac, your top guys coming up. Reza Shane, 37% of the pool as well. Yikes. Of course, it's going to be the day where Reza Shea goes off, hangs a fucking triple-double right in my face, but I don't care. I do not want to play Reza Shea. They also pronounce it in the games like Reza Shea, like Reza Shea. It feels racist. I'm not trying to do like a voice, but I swear that's how the Atlanta announcers pronounce it because I've watched now enough Hawk games over the last couple of weeks. They're like, Reza Shea. I don't know if that's correct, but I like to say Reza Shea because it makes me feel less like a goof. The Reza Shea is pretty good. Bruce Brown is a C-mate. That's true. But yeah, Bruce Brown out tonight. So cannot put the Brown Dick jersey up together, unfortunately. I'm sure they have before. It's okay to be racist about the French. That's true. They did, but they gave us a Statue of Liberty. I don't want them to take it back. Anyway, we're doing Sims, guys. There's nothing. I got to fill time. This is basically where I get to work on my tight 5 minutes of stand-up. I also have the football here, but I can't. It wouldn't be as easy to play with the basketball or on stream, which is one of the biggest flaws here of doing an NBA show. How can I prove I know ball? But you can't see the basketball over my shoulder. Still right here. Here we go. Why am I like laggy today, too? Fucking weird. Anyway. That's me killing time while we're compiling results. But these results are going to be really sweet, guys. Have no fear. We'll figure out who the best plays are. I'll tell you who the must plays are. All right. Top ROI lineups right now. What about my right 5 inches? Thank you. Thank you. Jalen Suggs. Puppet Grady Dick. No. Jalen Suggs, Donovan Mitchell. I would need to spend so much time with him to get to know him intimately. Jonathan Isaac is going to be chalk as shit, man. I am not crazy about Jonathan Isaac. Kind of talked about why before. Great per minute. I don't know if the minutes can hit a ceiling you need to, and he's going to be chalky as hell. So certainly can play him. He's going to come up in some lineups, but I would personally exercise a little bit of caution. Those are the plays that kind of get you trapped. Like Jonathan Mogbo the other night. Had a pretty good game. Wasn't enough to make a winning lineup. That's sort of how it goes for those guys very often. Jalen Suggs, Donovan Mitchell, Zachary Reza Shea, Mo Wagner, Mo Wagner, not Franz. We're getting Mo. Domantas Sabonis, Jose Alvarado, LeBron James, Ben Simmons, Stokastic, going weird with the number 1 ROI lineup. Number 2 is Cade Cunningham, Donovan Mitchell, Reza Shea, Josh Hart, Luke Cornett, Jose Alvarado, RJ Barrett, Nikola Vucevic. Number 3 is Trey Young, Trey Mann, Josh Hart, Zion, Mo Wagner again, Ben Simmons, Reza Shea, and RJ Barrett. Cade Cunningham, Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett, Mo Wagner, Luke Cornett, Darius Garland, Reza Shea, and Vucevic. Why so much Mo Wagner? Did they change like a projection on me? I'm going back to my other sheet to see. I mean, I got Mo Wagner at 19.9, so I am lower than Stokastic, but 17.7 minutes, you're getting him in every fucking lineup? No way. Anyway. I'd rather see Mo Sislak in here than Mo Wagner. Cade Cunningham, Donovan Mitchell. I think we read that one already. Trey Young, Trey Mann, Reza Shea, Hart, Cornett, Alvarado, Zion, Vucevic. That's your top 5. Let's look at the top 150 and try to get a read for it. Not getting much Jonathan Isaac, though, for whatever it's worth, at least in the top ROI lineups. Highest ROIs, Mo Wagner. Again, Josh Giddey, slightly positive ROI. Everything else lower. So, okay. No idea what this would be. This is not what I expected looking at the Stokastic data, how this would look, but it is what it is. You're getting 71% Reza Shea, so you are getting Riza Shea out the Daliel. That's what I would say. Alvarado, 65% ownership, so you're getting more than the field's 47% for him. You're getting 2x the field of Riza Shea, though. That's what the sim wants you to get. Jalen Suggs, 57% compared to 41. RJ Barrett, 49% compared to 41. Luke Cornett, 35% compared to 22. Zion, 34% compared to 24. Josh Hart, 33% compared to 33, so flat on Josh Hart. A little bit more on LeBron, 32 compared to 25. A lot more Mo, almost 30% compared to 10. Trey Mann, 29% compared to 15. Simmons, 27% compared to 15. Siakam, 27 compared to 16. Expected Schroeder more. Not a lot of Schroeder here, 14% compared to 11. I'm telling you, I said it before when I was going through the top, going through the game by game. I think Schroeder has been playing like it is his team. When Simmons is out there, he loses a little bit, but frankly, he went off the other night with Simmons out there as well. So he's shooting well to start the year. He's playing like the best version of Schroeder. So I have no issue going to Schroeder if he's going to be low owned. It's the honesty, like the tough part is Stokastic usually is like dead on with their NBA ownership in a way that NFL is a little more guesswork. I feel like with how Schroeder's been playing, though, I don't know that he would be actually 10% owned. Like, I think he would probably more 15, 20. That's my guess, which would kind of change the play, but I still think he's a good play. I mean, I've got him projected fairly well. Do I have him better projected than Stokastic? Yeah, I've got him at 36.6. Stokastic has him at 34.7. He's just not as great of a value, but the ceiling is definitely there. And Chicago's a pace-up spot. Chicago, not a good defense. Chicago, not a good team, but good enough to score enough points to hang in the game. So I think Schroeder's perfectly cromulent on the slate. But here's your plays, guys. And what do you get with Davion Mitchell? You get not a single share. So Davion Mitchell differentiation, that's it. Cam Thomas, we went through the stuff up top, Andrew, if you want to go backwards, but Cam Thomas, I'll look at him real fast just for you. He's getting 23% ownership right now, so a good amount. Schroeder projected for 9, so that's why Schroeder to me does make a more appealing play. But there we go, guys. There's your Splash Play NBA for the day. You guys know the deal by now. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. I'm doing these streams every day besides today at 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. So please do subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. All your engagements go a long way for me to try to get this new channel primed and ready to go. It's going to take more than a week, probably take longer than a month, but I'm strapping here, going to do the work. So tell a friend if they care about basketball too. Stokastic, get 15% off with them. Promo code in the description. Promo code SPLASH. Link in the description would be a better way to say that. Unabated, $30 off. Promo code SPLASH on there. Link in the description as well. Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash. Link in the description. The Solver, if you want just an optimizer for NBA, you can use that as well. No promo code, or no deal. Link in the description, promo code SPLASH. And that's basically it. So thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for checking it out. New week coming. I won't be doing shows on the weekend just because it would drive me insane, but appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you guys being here this week, giving a shot to this new channel, but let's keep it going here. Got to get to the first 100 subs, then the first 500, then the first 1,000. It's a climb, guys, but strap in. I'm prepared to do it here. Mountain climbing. I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your weekends. And of course, good luck. Bye-bye.